Forecaster Stephen Boyle here. I want to briefly update you on the storm system. I did update my snowfall totals a little bit, so let's get to it. Winter storm warnings in effect for parts of for Plymouth, for Brockton, Providence, and also the New London area. Let me show you the current radar imagery. Look at all of this precipitation. Okay, it's all streaming up like this. Okay, I'll put this in motion as well for you, so you can kind of see how it's all moving. Notice it's kind of moving in an east to northeasterly direction, but I want you to note a little bit of enhancement coming in right in the Springfield area. Okay, I'll zoom into the radar imagery here. Notice there's some enhancement starting to form. Notice it's kind of forming north of the Hartford area. Okay. And this is going to continue moving north. So overall, everything is working out as I expected it to. Here is the current satellite imagery. Here is the upper level low. It's coming down right now. It's starting to come down. It'll start interacting with the jet stream, I would say probably within the next couple hours. Okay, in the next couple hours, it's going to interact with that jet stream. That interaction is starting to take place, which is the reason why, if we look back here, we'll go to the Albany radar here. That's the reason why you're starting to get some new formation of snow bands back into western Connecticut, eastern parts of the Hudson River Valley. I'll kind of zoom out here to the northeast and show you what I'm talking about. I want you to kind of note here. We'll put this in motion. Notice how in eastern parts of western Connecticut you're starting to get a little bit of formation. Okay. Not only that, you're starting to get some formation back in here as well. So you're starting to kind of form some snow bands in here. That's because that interaction is beginning. It hasn't completely taken place yet. But once that interaction is complete, you are going to get all these greens. These greens indicate some heavy snow bands. These greens will probably be coming all around in here. Now, of course, not all of this is snow, especially once you go south of Connecticut. This is all mixing and ice and sleet and things like that. But you're going to start getting some pretty hefty snows. Okay, this is kind of moving in an east-northeasterly direction, so it's kind of moving in this direction. So you're going to get all of this kind of streaming in like this. Okay. All right. So here's what the National Weather Service out of Taunton is looking at. I'm agreeing with this. I think you have your 6 to 8. I think it comes slightly a little bit more north, like so. But overall, I'm agreeing with this. I think this is going to work out pretty well. So let me show you what I'm looking at. Here is my minimum snowfall totals. Okay. Notice I brought things south a little bit. Okay, I think 4 to 6 at minimum is pretty good, coming around like so. I think you're going to get about 4 to 6 in Hartford at minimum. I think you're going to get 4 to 6 at minimum in Providence and Plymouth. All these areas, 4 to 6 at minimum. I think a winter storm warning is definitely, it would be a very wise decision for a winter storm warning to be posted for Hartford. But, I don't think they're going to do that. But in any case, it's gonna be very heavy snows through a good chunk of Connecticut. Okay, it's gonna snow very heavily even along the Mass Pike. This is gonna be pretty intense stuff here. Okay, I think it's gonna be pretty intense. But again, once you go just to the north of Route 9. Okay, last night or earlier this morning I was saying it was Route 9. I think it's just to the north of Route 9. You start getting very light snow. All of this in here is going to be wicked light snow. You're not going to be really talking about much of anything. You'll be like, what storm? Okay. But along the Mass Pike and south, especially along and south of the Mass Pike, this is intense stuff in here. Okay, this is intense stuff right along in here. So still, all these areas in here, I'm still anticipating at least 3 inches of snow. This is at least 3. 3 inches plus into this hatched area. Okay, in this hatched area, it's 3 inches plus, with locally more. Okay, here's what I'm expecting. Okay, notice we have a 6 to 8, and again, it's further to the south. I had it kind of coming up like this earlier this morning. I brought it a little bit further south, okay, to include Hartford, and I included Providence in that, and also Plymouth, and parts of the lower Cape, okay, because I do think the Bourne area is really going to be snowing heavily for a period. Okay, I don't even know if they're gonna mix at all. This is a good 6 to 9 right in here. This is a good 6 to 9. Along and especially south of the Mass Pike, north of this line, but south of this line. Okay, so if you're in this area right in here, I would say about 5 to 7. This is 6 to 9. Okay, you're probably going to get closer to the 5 or 6, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some 7-inch amounts in here. Okay, once you go in here, it's generally south of Route 2. I would say you're talking about 3 to 5 in here. This is about 3 to 5. Once you start going, again, north of Route 9, really, amounts drop off pretty quickly. Right here, I would say this is about maybe about 2 to 4. I could see possibly 4 inches in these areas, and then up in here, this is 1 to 3. Okay. So this is what I'm generally looking at. Okay. So south of Route 2, but north of Route 9, that's where you're going to get about 3 to 5 inches. Once you go along the Mass Pike, that's in south of it, amounts pick up very quickly. Okay, and I'll show you. Here's the current radar. Okay. We'll pause it here. Notice how you're starting to get some heavy banding forming right in the Springfield area south of the Mass Pike. See that? That's going to continue through the whole event here. Notice how you're having some, right now you're having some, moderate snows generally along and south of Route 9. And then north, I mean, you have this little batch in here, but for the most part, most of this is very light. That's what I'm going to continue seeing this, and I think you're going to continue getting these heavy bands moving like so, south of Route 9. Okay? That's why I'm looking at probably about, like I said, about 5 to 7 inches in the Springfield area, 5 to 7 inches in the Worcester area, about 5 to 7, maybe 4 to 6, somewhere in there in the Boston area. But definitely Hartford, Providence, and Plymouth. Heavy snow amounts. Okay, here's my maximum snow amounts. Again, this would be 8 or 9. Okay, as I mentioned this morning, there's not going to be anything over 9 inches. No 10, 11, 12 inch amounts with this. Okay, this is about 6 or 7 in this purple area. This is about, depending on where you're located, we'll chop this in half. This part up in here is about 4 or 5. Okay, and this is about 5 or 6. It's possible areas along Route north of Route 9, but south of Route 2 pick up about 6 inches if we can get this to move a little bit more north. But I think it's going to be a little tricky for that to happen. right in here, south of this, right in here. I think this is about 2 to 4, and I think this is like 2 up in here. Okay, that's what I'm looking at this point. I think that's a pretty solid forecast. I think you can put your bets in on that. So that's what's going on. This is my last update for this storm, and it may be the last snowstorm. The reason why I think that is because our next storm, there's going to be a lot of rain with it. It's going to be cutting through New York State, so it's going to be bringing in a lot of warm air, maybe dealing with a period of freezing rain, but I don't see much wintry precipitation with this next storm. I think there's a lot of people really overdoing the amount of wintry precipitation with it. I think this is a lot of rain. A lot of rain. It's going to cause a lot of problems because we've got a lot of heavy, we've got a lot of snow, and this is just going to exacerbate the snow on the roofs. So this is going to cause a lot of problems. But I see a lot of rain with it. Okay, there's a lot of warm air coming in from the Gulf. This is just going to be a major rainstorm. Maybe a period of freezing rain or sleet or a little bit of snow, but I think really everyone is really overdoing the amounts of snow with this. There could be a period of snow south of I-84 on Thursday, but I don't see much of anything elsewhere. Maybe a couple inches or so, but overall that's it for the snow. Okay, so this is what's going on. It's snowing pretty good out there. So have a great rest of your weekend, and get ready for snow, and get those shovels ready. Take care, everyone.